Bezzecchi first. 2 crashes in FP1 would rattle most men. He treated them like warm-up stretches. He came back in practice and hung a 143.193 on the board, top of the pile. And he did it with the kind of time attack that announces intent. That number wasn't an accident. He'd been fast even before the final salvo. Then he cut the last lap like a guillotine, and that's the tell. Guys who put it all together while their hands still remember gravel are dangerous, less afraid of falling because they already fell. Bezzecchi didn't just go quickest. He walked into motegi, bled twice, and still made everyone else look like they were just getting ready for the session to start. That's a statement win on a Friday. He's the rider you circle in red for qualifying because he'll happily trade a fair lap for a fast one and dare the rest to live with the consequences. The sheet says P1, 143.193. The subtext says don't follow him into turn 1 if you're not prepared to crash at the exit. Pedro Acosta. You can feel the energy roll off this kid like heat from a fresh slick. He popped the 143.329 to sit second, then stacked the RC16 in a turn 1 wreck immediately after. Bike destroyed, time intact, message sent. That's a hell of a data point for Saturday. He can stick it, but he's still walking the knife's edge at motegi. People will say rookie wildcard like it's a compliment. It's not. It's a warning siren. A rider that fast and that willing to leave shrapnel on the track at the end of a lap is the exact guy who steals a pole while you're still choosing gears for your final run. And by the way, last year's pole here was his. He knows how to unlock time at this place. If KTM gives him a clean outlap and a slipstream, you might as well pencil him into the front row and plan your race start around getting past him before the brakes. He was P2 today. The trigger discipline is the only question mark. He'll either bury you or bury himself trying. Now Marc, the pace wasn't pretty, it was predatory. He sat outside the top 10 for most of the hour, did his homework, kept his crew talking, kept the mood cold. Then, when the session hit the last round of bullets, he loaded soft rubber, flipped the internal switch, and went to work. Third on the sheet, 143.360, late, clinical, almost bored. Here's the thing. Marc is the only rider this season who has gone straight to Q2 at every single round. That's not just consistency, that's an execution model. Watch the pattern. He spends the dead minutes learning, not flexing, then he comes out when the track is green with rubber and the pressure is suffocating, and he puts the lap on. You either have the stomach for that, or you don't. He's got a full pantry, and today, he did it on a day Ducati looked fussy and the garage trips were frequent. This is where titles get won. On Fridays where other big names wobble and he still rams his way into the 10. He left it late. He left it sharp. He left it done. P3, through to Q2, eyes calm, same shark, new season, same ending. Let's talk about the compounds and the arc of the session because it matters. FP1 was a different animal. Pecco on top, Marc third, Martin second, Puller, and a bunch of riders making early swings at the lap times. The afternoon was where decisions hardened. Teams saved medium fronts in the morning, then went to preferred fronts later, mixing medium or soft rears across the field in practice. That's when the time attack wave hit, fresh softs appearing wheel by wheel, and the whole board got ripped open. This isn't stylistic fluff. It's the anatomy of how Marc survives bad Fridays. He refuses to get sucked into the early afternoon chaos. He builds a map, then rides the last 10 minutes like a verdict. Today's verdict? Still him. Pecco next. The headline is simple. FP1 belonged to him. The deeper truth is better. He carried real rhythm into Japan after the Misano test and got the pats on the back he needed. He topped the morning with a 144.857. In the afternoon, he dealt with an early mechanical issue. Reset, and when the time attack arrived, he punched to P1 briefly before the dust settled, and he landed P7. That's not failure. That's foundation. You can see the outlines of a rider who finally has a motorcycle he can predict under him for one lap. Is he the cleanest late breaker right now? No. Is he reclaiming the braking zone he lost this season? Motegi suggests yes. If he keeps it tidy through Q2 and catches a toe from anyone in the Bezzecchi Acosta Marc triangle, a front row start isn't fantasy. The real fight for him is psychological. He needs to prove to himself that a happy FP1 can turn into a qualifying lap that bites. Today, he looked more like the old Pecco. The sheet gives him P7 in practice, fastest in FP1, and that's a productive Friday for a man who's had too many Saturdays swallowed by doubt. Alex Marquez. This is the dagger. First time this year he's Q1 bound, and he did it to himself. He had the late push, he had the position. Then a track limits bite deleted the lap that mattered and left him 15th. Read that again. On Marc's first match point weekend, he drops into Q1 for the first time of 2025. That's not just a result, that's pressure announcing itself with a bullhorn. He's been the only other mathematical player in this title fight, and he blinked on the worst day to blink. He's got speed, he's got pride, but Q1 at Motegi when the field is stacked and the air temp is up is a meat grinder. You can get stuck behind a Honda in S1 and lose 2/10 for free. You can catch yellow flags and lose everything. You can nail the lap and still miss because someone up the road got a perfect toe. That's the kind of scrum that turns a championship story into a cautionary tale. He needs a perfect Saturday morning. Anything less, and he's serving the title on a silver tray. Let's stitch the front of the grid picture properly. The top 10 through to Q2 are Bezzecchi, Acosta, Marquez, Mir, Di Gianantonio, Marini, Bagnaia, Quartararo, Raul Fernandez, and Zarco. Look at that spread. 4 manufacturers in the top 4 and 2 Hondas in the 6. Honda at home with Mir 4th and Marini 6th is not just par, it's daylight. They finally leveraged Motegi's stop-and-go profile to cover their corner exits, and Mir in particular looked sharp when the lap was on the line. Quartararo got it done late to drag Yamaha to 8th. Zarco caught the last train and slammed the door behind him, which is how he's always thrived, taking the final ticket into the party, then dancing on tables. Aldeguer missed by 0.008, and you could hear the scream from the pit box through your headphones. This is Q2 as a knife rack. One mistake, and you bleed. That's what Saturday morning is going to be. Blood sport. We need to be clear about the title math because a lot of people are getting cute with tomorrow he might be champion. No, he cannot clinch on Saturday. He has to leave Sunday with at least a 185-point advantage. Right now, it's 182. So he must outscore Alex by 3 across the weekend. And the Grand Prix is the locking mechanism. Point is, qualifying pressure on Alex in Q1 is colossal because it shapes sprint points and grid position for the main. Wow, but the crown doesn't get handed in Parc Fermé after Q2 or after the sprint. It's a Sunday decision. That's not vibe. That's the rulebook of the points. So forget the fairy tale about a Saturday coronation. The only thing that can happen tomorrow is Marc makes Sunday easy or Alex makes it interesting. Given today, guess which way the wind blows. Marc's requirement is simple. Outscore Alex by 3 across the weekend and leave Sunday at plus 185. That's the lock. Today's result shoves Alex into Q1 and invites the gods of mischief into his Saturday. If those gods decide to have a laugh in Q1, Marc walks into the sprint with a free hand. If Marc uses that free hand to even slightly increase the gap, then Sunday becomes a coronation march instead of a duel. The title fight isn't over because of lap time. It's over because one brother is ice in the last 10 minutes and the other just tripped over a painted line. Friday at Motegi didn't crown a champion. It did something worse. It made Sunday predictable.